Hey everybody, it's Martha. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I am doing a little craft with me today. It's sort of a follow-up on my previous video about stamping on fabric, and I wanted to do some more of that today. I'm really enjoying finding uses for it and finding stamps for it, and making it something of my own. So I wanted to show you a couple that I did today. And this one, I have an eyelet in it, which I interchangeably use the word eyelet and grommet, and I hope you forgive me for that, and ribbon through it. And this is double-sided. It's muslin that I've used heat and bond on. The heat and bond has two sides that you iron fabric onto. You do one side and then you do the other. And the fabric is white muslin. The unbleached muslin looks like this, but I haven't done any yet with the heat and bond. So the white is what I have, and this is the difference. The unbleached and the bleached. And you could coffee or tea stain this before you stamp it. Do not do it after you stamp it, because I haven't tried it and I don't know if the ink would run. The two inks that I use are StazOn or the archival ink. The archival ink is permanent and it's acid free and it's waterproof. However, I'm not going to try it right now yet. I might try it in the future and see if I could tie-dye one of these. Not tie-dye, tea-dye. I don't use coffee because I don't like the way it smells. So I use tea. You could use the ink to distress it if you didn't want to dye it. I haven't done that yet either, but I could try that today. So anyway, these are what we're going to make, and I am using these on my tassels. So here's a tassel that I made. I showed this in my previous video. This was my first tag that I made. Now I did not use pinking shears up here, and I don't know if this is going to fray enough to ruin it. I don't think it is, because the heat and bond keeps this fabric together and this isn't pulling off anymore. But when I thought about it, I thought it would be best to use pinking shears, and the pinking shears will keep it from fraying too. So I would recommend using the pinking shears at the top where the eyelet, I think I said grommet just now, where the eyelet is going to be. So those are two I just did, but when I did the video, it was really, it's a beautiful day here in Virginia. It's December 26th. The sun is out. It's like 48 degrees. People are on the golf course and people are using their leaf blowers. Right now, they aren't blowing, but I guarantee before I finish this video, they will start again. Because when I started the other video, which you won't see because my head is all in the way and nobody wants to see that. So anyway, when I started that video, there were no leaf blowers, but halfway through the leaf blowers started. And the leaf blowers are like right next door. So between the golf course that we live on the 10th tee of and the golfers yelling all the time, golf is not as quiet a sport as you would think it is. And all the stuff going on and no snow on the ground. People are out blowing their leaves on December 26th. Yep. So hopefully we can get through this one without the dogs barking, husband interrupting, and leaf blowers going off. So I have a couple of tips on this video that I'm going to share with you. So let's get started. Now, I did this earlier before I turned the camera on because Well, I've just been getting lost in Pinterest and finding things on there I want to do, and I keep going back to the stamping on the fabric. So I did these. This one says, "Life is a grand adventure, be brave." And then this one is a Mother Teresa quote saying, "Spread your love everywhere you go." And then I added a heart on the front and falling hearts on the back. So I have 2 of those and 2 of those. And I did this one in my last video that you're not going to see again because my head kept getting in the way. So I'm going to try and keep it out of the way, this one. And this says, "Do one thing every day that makes you happy." And I put the dragonfly on the back. And this, now I can't remember what I said or in this video or in the last one. So if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me. 2 pieces of muslin, double-sided heat and bond in between. It gives it some body, and it gives you the 2 sides of fabric. I would not stamp on both sides of a fabric without something in between, because your ink is going to show through, the stamp is going to show through, and it wouldn't look very nice. So I think the heat and bond is worth using. And if you didn't watch my last video, what I did was I tore my fabric into strips. Then I cut the heat and bond into a strip just about 1/8 of an inch, not as wide, so less wide. And I ironed the strips to the heat and bond to the fabric and let them cool. And now this is what I have. So I'm going to do a stamp on here just to show again what I do. So I'm going to use the archival ink on this because I really like this one. I'm going to stamp this carefully and try and not get any on the edge of the stamp, which I did on the last one. It smudged up here on one of them. So I'm going to do that, make sure it's nice and inked up. There isn't any on the edges. And I'm going to leave myself plenty of space, probably 3 fingers worth, because you want room at the top for your grommet, your eyelet. See, I did it again. You're going to hold it down firmly and not rock it. And you are going to hold it there for at least 10 seconds. And the reason you want to do that is you want your ink to have a chance to soak into your fabric and be clear, and it won't smudge and stuff then. Okay, and then lift straight up. So that came out really nice. And then I'm going to switch this stamp out for the dragonfly. And I'm going to flip the fabric over, and you can see, I don't know if it shows on camera, but I can see, if I tilt it in the light the right way, I can see where that stamp is on the other side. But you can't really see so much of it that it interferes, that the stamps that you stamp won't interfere with each other. Now, if you're using black on it, it might. I don't know. I don't think so. I can show you on the other one. Ink this up really well. And then I can see the stamp on the other side. I'm going to hold this down firmly. This is the black. And I have the blue on the other side. And you can't, I mean, if you hold it up to the light, you can see the black through it, but you really can't see the black on the fabric. But if you didn't have 2 layers of fabric and the heat and bond in between, you would definitely see the black through the fabric, and it would ruin whatever you put on the other side. Now, if you wanted to do it single-sided, that'd be okay, but I also don't think it would make a very good charm, or whatever you want to call this. So there's my dragonfly. There's my stamps. I'll put those over here, and I'm going to put my, oopsies, my ink over here. Actually, I think what I'm going to do, it's down here on the end. I am going to see what happens if I try to distress this, and I'm going to put a paper towel under here. I meant to put a paper towel under there. I don't know if you can see, when I did the dragonfly, the head sort of didn't come out very well, not as clearly as that one. I usually have a double layer of paper towel down, and I forgot to put my paper towel down. And when I use my inks, I think my stamps rather, I think it works better that way. So this just dresses up pretty nice. I'm not using too heavy of an ink. This is the first time I've tried this, so welcome to my world. Nothing like doing it the first time on video, right? But I like it. Seems to work. Up to about there. I think that's about the same area. All right, and then I'm going to, oops, I got stuff everywhere. Yeah, get off. Okay, and then I'll try it again. I think I'll try the same, just as an experiment, the same ink and the same stamp, and see how that comes out. And then we can see, uh-oh, I can see I already smudged. I'm such a sloppy crafter. I don't know about you, but I have to come home. If I've been out running errands and I want to craft, I literally have to put old clothes on. Because if I don't, I will drop the ink pad on a new shirt or a new pair of pants. I will inevitably, one of these ink pads will go flying, bouncing off of me onto the floor. Okay, now I'll lay this out flat so I'm not struggling. I am going to a little bit down, 2 or 3 fingers down from the top. In fact, I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to press that down for at least 10 seconds. And wait for it. Okay. All right. Straight up. It came out pretty good. I like it. And then I'm going to flip it over, switch out my stamp for the dragonfly, ink up the dragonfly. So my husband came up, asked me why I had the door shut. I said, because I'm recording. He went, oops. I said, well, luckily, I wasn't recording when he opened the door. So he's got the dogs out with him. So I can see, you probably can't see, I don't know, but I can just barely see the ink from the other side. So I know where to stamp my dragonfly. And I'm going to put it on sort of cattywampus and hold it down at least 10 seconds because that's how it works best. Now, distressing this, I can feel that the ink is still a little wet, and I like to heat set my ink. I think you could use a heat gun. I have a craft iron that I use, and I put it on cotton or linen. A regular craft iron, a regular iron would work. Just don't use steam. When you use the heat and bond, you don't use steam either. You want a dry iron. The directions are on the package. And you can get heat and bond and the muslin in any fabric store, just about any fabric store. Joann's has it, Hobby Lobby has it. The heat and bond comes in a package. I don't have the package up here with me right now, but it comes in a plastic package and it's usually hanging up, and it's called Heat in Bond with an N in the middle. So there you have it. There's a distressed tag. And because I can feel that this is still wet, and I am not going to take the time to iron it or heat set it with my heat gun right now, I am going to set this aside. And I am going to use, I'm going to wipe my hands first because I don't want to get anything else dirty from the Distress ink or the blue ink. And this ink I'm using is Archival Ink Garden Patina. It's very pretty. I picked up 2 more sets of the Archival inks today. There's a tip I gave the last time. When I use a wet wipe, I put it back in the package and it keeps it wet. And I usually use the same wet wipe all day until I'm done with my crafting session. Even if I use it for glue, if there's a lot of glue on it, I throw it away. So, the Archival ink. I went and picked up 2 new sets today. This is one of them. This one's upside down. So now I have I have 4 sets, so I have a really nice variety of colors. Hobby Lobby has their ink and their stamps, and Tim Holtz, 40% off. Today is December 26th, 2018, the day after Christmas. So don't hold me to it, because if you're watching this in March or April, don't yell at me if Tim Holtz and the ink sets are not 40% off. Now, this Spread Your Love Everywhere You Go by Mother Teresa, I'm going to cut one of these off. I'm going to use my pinking shears, and I'm going to cut this off. Now that's the tail end. On the top end, I am going to leave more space. So I am going to cut this right about here. So there I've left myself some more space, okay? And I am going to put that away and these away and get this out of the way. Now, I have a crocodile. I'm learning to make friends with it when I remember how to use it correctly. And it's a pretty nifty little tool. They're expensive, but if you use say Joann's 50% off coupon, it's affordable. But if you don't have one, I'm going to also give you a tip on how to do this without a crocodile. So for this one, I'm going to use the crocodile. I'm going to set it in there and make the hole. And I'm going to try and get it centered, but I usually come out with it not perfect. But then, you know, handmade is not perfect, right? If we wanted perfect and not handmade, we'd go buy these things in the store, right? So do that, and there's always a little piece on the back that sticks up, so I just take my little scissors and chop that off. And I am going to take, I don't know why I put my crocodile away, because I need it again. Okay. I'm going to take my little eyelet and pop it in there, and I'm going to set it on the crocodile setter without getting my head in the camera, I hope. My last video, my head was all over the camera. Not pretty. It sort of kind of worked, so I'm going to give it another shot. Okay. There we go. There, that stayed. Okay, so there's one. And so I've got my little tag and I've got an eyelet in it. Now, here's a tip for you. If you don't have a crocodile and can't afford a crocodile or don't want to spend the money on a crocodile, go get yourself a leather punch. Leather punches can be found on Amazon, I'm sure. And this one I got at Tractor Supply store, I think. We have horses. We live pretty rural. So we have a Tractor Supply pretty close by. I think, I don't know for sure, Michael's might carry them because they carry leather products. I don't know if Hobby Lobby carries them. I haven't checked. You may be able to find these in Lowe's or Home Depot if this is all if you're in the US. I don't know if you can find one in Walmart or Target. I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure you can buy these on Amazon, and I will try to remember to find a link and link it below if I can. A leather punch will work. It'll work on this because it's got the heat and bond in it. I think it'll work if you use it on regular fabric. This is a pretty good, I've had luck with this, knock wood, while we're at it, because this would be the time it would work. And if you do it this way, you want to also get a punch kit. Punch kit will come with a metal hammer, and it'll come with this silver thing with this end on it. And I will try and find this on Amazon as well. And you should probably be able to find this in the hobby stores too, like Michael's. And I got these a long time ago, so I really can't tell you where they are now. I got this probably 11 or 12 years ago. So, but I'm pretty sure you can find these. And like I said, if I find it on Amazon, I will link it below. So the first thing, well, the first thing you have to do is, okay. What did I do with it? Oh my, I am such a mess, people. I can't even begin to tell you. When I turn the video camera on, I just sort of fall apart. Okay, that's not the one I want. Where's the one I want? I have no idea what I did with my strip of fabric. There it is. Hey, look, I found it. Okay, so I'm going to cut one of these off. Life is an Adventure. And my pinking shears. And because I cut one off from up here, it's already got quite a big header on it. And I might not want one that big. I think I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. There we go. So, and don't throw that away. You can always use it for a little stamp. And I am going to use the leather punch. Okay. Try and find center. If you hear that noise, that's an airplane going over. I think the small local airport is doing flying, and they do parachutes. Okay, that worked. Again, it left a little thing there, so I'm just gonna cut that off. Oops. Cut. Okay. And see, it made a nice little hole. It's perfect. That's the smallest setting on the leather punch. And I'm going to use a little eyelet here. And these kind don't need a backing on them. And what I'm going to do is, I have this little pad of paper that I bought today at Hobby Lobby because it was on sale. And I really, really like it. They're little note cards. So we're going to use this. And I'm going to use this funny looking end. I'm going to set it on there. Plug your ears if you don't like loud noises. And that didn't work. You know, if I do this downstairs in the basement on a piece of wood, it always works. That would be my hint. Use a piece of wood. It's not working very well. But if you have a piece of wood, which I did not bring upstairs with me because I didn't realize I was going to do this tip thing, it'll work. I promise it will work. So I'm going to put this. Come on, crocodile. I don't know if that's in or not. Okay, so that worked. I swear this thing works. It really does. It's just not working on this size. And I made a nice little dent in my desk. Don't do that. Get you a piece of wood and it'll work. Okay, so here's another tip. Depending on what you want to put in this, if you want to use a bulb pin, which is one of these, I got these off of Amazon, and I got a whole nifty bag full of them. I have enough to share with probably anybody who's watching because I don't have that many subscribers. And, you know, extras. So, there's that. If you want to put a bulb pin in, that just hooks on nicely. And you can hook this onto any fabric on your journal, any lace. You can add lace like I did to this one. I just stuck some lace on the bulb pin with it. You could stick ribbon on there. You could do whatever you wanted. If you wanted to put ribbon, scissors, and just sort of make a tassel just right here on this whole thing. Just stick the, because it has it's a pin. It's like a safety pin. And see? You could put all kinds of ribbons right on this bulb pin if you wanted to, and it would make a pretty tassel, a charm, whatever you want to call it. So you can just put a bulb pin on there and add whatever else you want, beads or whatever to it. Or, and here's my other tip, you buy these, and this is dental flossers for people who wear braces. So any place that sells dental supplies, toothpaste, toothbrushes, and flossers should have these. I found mine in Walmart, and you get a whole bunch of them in here. So if you lose them, then, you know, they're not that expensive. And I'm going to show you why you might want to use one of these. So I have a strip of ribbon here. And what you do is you put this through the ribbon. You put the ribbon through the hole in the flosser, okay, through the loop, right? Take the flosser, put it through the eyelet. Pull your ribbon through, and there you go. And if I wanted to pull it through the other way to make a loop, you just stick it in the hole. Ah, my grommet came out of my hole. I'm sad. Oopsies. Stick it back through the... And I dropped it, so I'll get another one. I'm having a day. I hope you forgive my boo-boos. Like my bad grommet, my bad eyelet setting. Okay. So I am going to put that back through. I'm going to pull it back through the eyelet. Uh-oh. Well, and there's my eyelet. So pretend the eyelet is in there. And I lost another one. Gee whizzikers. Okay. So if you want to put it through and make a loop, you would put two of them through, put it through the hole, pull it through the fabric. There we go. Pull your ends through the fabric, right? And you can make a loop. There. And now I've got a cute little part with a ribbon. So even though my eyelet didn't stay, I'm not very good with the crocodile or the eyelets or any of the rest of it. These little things are very cool. They're great for beading. You can pull stuff through a pretty small bead. They're great for threading needles. I mean, these things are wonderful. And like I said, they're inexpensive. So you lose one in the mess on your table and it gets thrown away with other stuff. You get a whole bunch in a box. So it's not, you know, the end of the world. It's not an expensive tool. It's really useful for a lot of things. So I failed at my eyelet setting. That eyelet might be too small for the hole I made. I don't know. It is now, because that hole's pretty big now. So I am going to correct this by putting a larger one in. And I have the ones that you buy specifically to use with the crocodile, and they're huge. And every time I open one of these, it's upside down and they go flying. When I can get it open. Oh, come on. I guess today's not my day. There we go. And it's right side up. Yippee! Okay, so now we're going to do the proper one with the crocodile and the proper size, which means I have to flip this around and set that. And then this, if you don't know, these crocodiles have these things that flip around, and that's how you know which one to use. So this one takes the big one with the really flat head on it. And I am going to set this in here, I hope. Wah! Hold that thought. And I usually have to be a contortionist to see what I'm doing. I wear trifocals, which, you know, oops. Put it on the right thing, Martha. There we go. And success. I had success with this one. Now it's big enough to just stick the ribbon through. Don't need that other thing. Well, actually, if I want to do it this way, I might. Or not. No. You could put a red ribbon on this. I mean, this ribbon doesn't really go anyway, right? Get a red ribbon. Since it has red on it, this would be good for a journal that you're doing red on. And put this through. Okay, I give up. We're going to pull this thing out again. I tell you, these things, it's so worth it not to get frustrated by pulling something like this through there. So I'm just putting this, I put this in the hole with the loop sticking up. I'm putting the loop in here because I want to loop my fabric. So I want to pull the whole loop through. I hope this is showing. And then, there. Oops. There you have it. Success this time. So you have to have the right things to use, the right sizes. And I am becoming friends with my crocodile. But there you go. So if you want to try this at home, again, I will review. I used the Stays On. Archival ink, Stays On, and the archival ink, right? And you can use, because these are all permanent, and you use 2 layers of fabric with heat and bond in between. So I stripped my fabric, cut my heat and bond a little narrower than my fabric was, and ironed on both sides. And then I stamped on them in a long strip, and then cut them off to the length I want, leaving extra at the top if you want to put a grommet in, an eyelet in. And then you can hang it on a tassel. You can hang it on the edge of a journal with lace on it, which I don't have one of those yet. I need to make a couple of covers. And my secret weapon for threading things, beads or ribbon, is these dental flossers for people who wear braces. I don't have the cardboard that it comes in, but this is the little box they come in, which is handy. And ribbon, eyelets, the proper size eyelets for what you want to make. And I mean, I did this little one and it worked. And I did this little one and it worked. So there you go. I did this black one and it worked. And I did this one, which is the same as this one. Those are the eyelets that come with the crocodile. And the leather punch, scissors, the hammer, and the eyelet setter, which I swear it does work. I used this on one of my journals before I got my crocodile. I used this on a journal to make the holes for the elastic so it's similar to a traveler's notebook, which I gave to a friend in California. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this craft with me. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. I want to say thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you very much. If you like this and you want to try it, if you have questions, ask below and I will get back with you. If you want to share this, please do. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you did. If you want to leave some kind comments, please. And if you do this, give me a link to what you did so that I can see what you did with it. And I will be back with some more stuff. I have lots more craft with me's I'm going to try. I have lots of ideas from Pinterest. Do you guys love Pinterest? Do you spend time looking at stuff on Pinterest? Does it help your creativity? It helps mine a lot. So, yeah. I don't know. Did I show you this? Can't remember if I showed this in this video or the one that I messed up with my head in the way. Lace, ribbon. You can't add anything to them. And we did the shabby one, the distressed one. I'm not as crazy about it as I am these. I mean, there's a big difference there, you know. But if that's what you like, hey, go for it. Do what you want. Do what works for you, right? So take care. Thanks again. Happy crafting. Talk to you soon.